Hey guys, it's Blake here from GMS. Have you ever wondered why your lead quality is really poor when advertising on Facebook? Well, today I want to talk about how to build trust and effectively get the right quality leads to convert your product or service online. And in particular, how to build trust with your cold audiences. So in this short video, I'm going to go through a process that is no secret, but one that we adapt, that we've used with over $5 million in ad testing in the past few years, that works across any industry and any niche. We don't want to end up in this position. So we all are very familiar with the case of Mark and the data breach with Facebook, obviously not having the trust with the users. So same goes with any business out there that's actually effectively advertising online, is that you need to build the trust and be authentic with the way that you're selling your customer and not trying to go to the chase or sell them something that they're just simply not interested in. So we can see here in this graph that Facebook is actually trailing in trust aside all the other digital media platforms. So we've got Yahoo there, we've got Apple, Microsoft, Google and Amazon, and Facebook only has 41% of trust according to this graph. So similar to your business, you don't want to have a diminishing return when you're putting a lot of efforts online with your advertising, whether it's Facebook, on Instagram, or even through YouTube. You're wanting to ensure that you're effectively getting the right audience, particularly from customers that don't know you, and driving them through a specific process, which is what I like to call the top, middle, and bottom of funnel, which again is no secret, but one that's commonly used across the Facebook ad algorithm. So today we're going to walk through three main areas with this funnel. Number one is the awareness objective. Number two is the consideration objective. And number three are the conversion objectives. Now, the reason why I'm splitting it into these three areas is because Facebook are actually telling us to use ads in a way that is exactly like a funnel. And what I mean by funnel is that you're essentially dragging a customer that doesn't quite know you into a process where you're squeezing them through an actual conversion. So if you felt confused when creating an ad, that you don't understand what the right ad objective would be, then you're simply not alone. It is quite confusing. There's a lot of areas to get lost, and when you actually click the green button, create ad, there's lots of different formats, there's lots of different ad objectives, and there's lots of different stages that you can get lost immediately. So it's important to understand what each of those mean and which ad would actually fit the stage of ad or campaign that you're looking to run. So I hear way too many people often stumbling at this first barrier, and instead they simply revert to the easier method of boosting, which essentially isn't really an ad. Boosting is pretty much there to drive further engagement for your organic posts, because as we know, Facebook is primarily an ad platform. Less than 1% of your posts will actually get seen organically, and over time, these posts probably won't even be seen at all. Facebook's driving more down the path of driving friends and family posts, community groups, and obviously ads that are tailored to your interests. So the more that we can understand this, and the more that we can understand that those advertising campaigns need to be in sync with the actual news feed and be as native as possible, the better that you'll be able to actually get results from your advertising. So rather than boosting, there is a better way. It takes more time, but I can guarantee you it will get you better results. Facebook essentially gathers data and puts it into buckets of behavior. So you might have liked surfing videos or pets and other co-curricular activities. So Facebook will put you into that bucket of behavior based on an interest. And then you might also opt in or go to lots of websites and purchase online. So if you're that purchasing style of customer where you're actually going from Facebook over to a website and making a sale, then they'll also put you into a bucket, which is the conversion bucket. So no matter what you're doing on Facebook, in other words, Facebook is actually tracking that and putting you into a behavior that's very different from someone else that has a different form of interest and might not purchase online. So choosing the right ad objective means that you're going to be selecting the right people that will convert through your website, your landing page, your event page, or your e-commerce store. So again, highly important that you're hitting the right buckets of behavior, but also the right buckets of people. So this is the simple graph that a lot of you might have seen, that again is no secret. Basically it's split into three main areas. You can call it whatever you like, 1, 2, 3, or top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. This is a typical marketing funnel, not just used on Facebook, but used all over digital marketing and has been going this way for quite some time. Essentially, the top of funnel is there to generate a lot of brand awareness. Even though your brand might already be known, it's still important to drive a lot of awareness through different forms of advertising. These can include videos, educational formats, blogs and articles. And once they start to get to know your company, your business, particularly if you're in the startup phase, then you can start driving them through the middle of funnel, which is basically there to educate them more about your business. So you understand that they've somehow got to know your business in some capacity, then you drive them through to maybe a website, further blog pages, maybe a simple opt-in to get an email list, and basically you're driving people through the funnel. And then at the last stage, that's when you're looking for the conversion. That's when you can start retargeting this customer based off the data you've already collected. This data can be from someone watching a video, from someone visiting your website, from someone opting into your funnel, or maybe even they've gone through a landing page but haven't quite converted, or maybe your e-commerce store, they're looking at some products online and they haven't actually completed the purchase through the payment. So there's so many different stages there of the life cycle that you need to then retarget, because it takes a few touch points for someone to make a buying decision. So bottom of funnel is highly important. Otherwise, you're going to be leaving all this money on the table. And you don't want to just go straight to the bottom of funnel, because you're basically trying to sleep with them on the first date and they don't trust your brand. So you're going to not only annoy them, but your results might lack. So let's go through this in more detail. When you're creating the ad, as I said, there's three main stages, and this funnel that I've just shown you is sort of mapped out in a way that you can actually guide yourself through the different ad formats. Over here on the far left of the graph, we can see the awareness category. We can see there's two main ad objectives there and formats, brand awareness and reach. And they're both designed not to convert the customer, but to talk a little bit more about what you do and to educate the market. Then going over into consideration, we can see there's a few more marketing objectives here. We've got traffic, which is driving traffic to websites or blogs or articles. We've got engagement, so someone can engage further with your post. We've got app installs, obviously if you're an app business. Video views, to try and get as many views as possible on your video. Lead generation, to try and get some sort of inquiry. Very good for a salesperson if you're trying to drive up a pipeline. And messages, so driving people through the Messenger app. So these are all a mixture of top of funnel but also middle of funnel, because you're getting them to consider your business and taking some form of action. And then finally, we've got the conversion category. And this is when you're starting to actually make the sale, or at least get some sort of qualified prospect over to your business. Now, there's a big difference between a lead and a qualified lead. A lead can be a simple name and email opt-in, or maybe it's just an email. But an actual qualified lead might be an application to speak with you. We do a lot of marketing where we put people through a calendar, and in that calendar request, we have an application, and we ask them a series of around 10 to 15 questions. So that's our screening application before someone speaks with us. So we know at that stage that they're a qualified lead. Prior to that, in the middle of the funnel, we might collect just a name and email and give them free information before they make that final step. So that's the difference between a lead and a qualified lead. And then we've got catalog sales and store visits. And that's obviously hugely important for e-commerce brands, because you're wanting to match up your product catalog with dynamic advertising to retarget those products once they've viewed it. And that's how all that recapturing happens, from someone going into order form, into payment form, into then finally purchasing. So you can continue to hit those customers over and over again. So let's go into the awareness first and go through some examples. So the awareness, as I mentioned, are top of funnel. They're aimed to generate interest before they've taken any action. So here's some examples here of ads that we've run in the top of funnel. In the top of funnel. So the first one here is a hospitality venue where we basically generated a video ad and calculated basically a lot of views there. So we've got over 375,000 views, 124 shares, 526 comments, and almost 1,000 likes. So this video ad within an isolated city in Australia has generated a huge amount of traction, which we can then educate the market that this business exists, and it's obviously solving the purpose of people looking to go out. So with this ad, we can then retarget them other offers for inquiring about a function or maybe a night out. So that's one example there. Here's another example with a wealth creation business. They run a lot of seminars and events. And in this video, we're basically educating them what they're going to see and learn at the event before they even commit to even register. So another great way to drive engagement and awareness for a new business, and particularly something that people might not trust yet. And then here's another example without a video, which is just a post, and we're driving engagement through that post and basically getting people to like, comment, and share before they take any action. So the formats of these ads are pretty similar. You can mix it up with a video, but you can also use image if maybe you just don't have the resources necessary for a video, or maybe you're shy in front of camera, then you can get away with doing some images, provided that the content in the actual ad itself in form of a copywriting is on point and informative. So let's go into consideration, the second stage. Consideration is essentially the middle of the funnel. So consideration has all those objectives that we went through in terms of the traffic and the video views and that sort of jazz. And basically this is designed for people to start considering your business once they've got to know a little bit about you. So the quickest and easiest way to build trust is provide value to your customer. So you can do things like driving traffic, doing blog posts, different articles, and even simple opt-ins to get people through that second stage of the funnel here. So another example here again with the wealth creation business, we've got a blog page here which is basically just learning a little bit about how much money people can save in tax and consolidated debt, and how much they can actually earn per week by doing so. So we're hitting a pain point here of people struggling with tax. Maybe they get to the end of the financial year and they're always out of pocket. So we're hitting that pain point there and then driving them through an article which takes them over to the website, which is obviously pixelated and tracked. So then we can actually collect that data because it's going off Facebook onto a third party. So then we can use that data to then retarget an offer later down the funnel. So that's a great example of moving and trying to get people over to your website, which obviously increases the viewage of your website and helps with SEO too. So there's a lot of different wins here. Outside of that, you can give away free reports and cheat sheets and other informative packages, and even like maybe a training video series if you're great in front of camera. So an example here is with a law firm, and basically we're giving them a free guide where it goes from ad into, again, a third-party website to collect data to deliver them a free guide on their services. So a great way to start building up an email list so you can then remarket them via email marketing. So that's very useful there. And then outside of that, you've got things like free webinar and showcasing your product and free training series like I mentioned. So here's an example of another client where we drive an ad over to a webinar opt-in page to get them to sign up to then register and attend an online seminar which roughly goes around 45 minutes. So again, really great if you're an authority in your industry, particularly in that coaching space. You can get a lot of trust by driving people through at a free, no obligation cost webinar or web series or web event. It can even be a video sales letter if you don't want to do a webinar, to get them to learn and educate and trust your model. So finally, conversion. So this is where the magic happens. This is where you start seeing all the dollars come in. Basically, this sits at the bottom of the funnel. This is designed to start driving people through the sale cycle of your business. For service businesses, obviously you're looking for some sort of application to speak with you, and that has to be a qualified application. And for e-commerce brands, you're obviously trying to get them to purchase your product online. So at this point in the funnel, you can actually work a lot harder and start putting a little bit more time into the campaigns, because these are low-hanging fruits. These are people that have already shown a lot of interest in your business. They've already gone over to your website. They've not only seen you on social, but they've then gone over to your website to check you out or some sort of format. And you know that they're your clientele. So you can spend more time on remarketing them so they can keep viewing your item or product or service until they make a decision. And on average, there might be 7 touch points before they do so. So it's important to set up that retargeting from the beginning. Here's some examples here. This is a business coach, Brett McFall, and he basically does a lot of retargeting to get people back through his webinar funnel or maybe into his application page if they've not taken up the offer at the end of the webinar. So we've got a few examples here, and we can actually see on one of these ads here, we're starting to speak directly at that customer, knowing that they've taken some action but missed out. So we can say in our ads things like, in case you missed your free registration to my upcoming coaching seminar, I wanted to let you in on a little secret. So you're re-indoctrinating them back into the funnel, providing them with a little bit more advice and triggers and lead magnets to get them to reconsider if they've not taken an action. Or maybe they simply just forgot, or certain life things got in the way. So you can start driving people back into the funnel if you've already spent money on them. And then from an e-commerce point of view, again, quite straightforward in terms of them going over to your order page but not purchasing. I'm sure you get followed with certain products, maybe it's a shoe, maybe it's a bag or a coat. If you've gone onto an e-commerce website, you'll know that that product then starts following you if you haven't taken action. So very smart in the way that, you know, you might not have your credit card on hand if you're looking on your mobile through social media, because a lot of time is actually spent on mobile these days. So it's important to make sure that they've got more than one opportunity to take that up. So we've got a few examples here in different formats of ads through Instagram and some carousel ads on Facebook to make sure that those products they viewed online, they get hit with again to have a second, third, fourth or fifth chance to purchase. And this can be done over a 3-day window, 7-day window, 14-day window. You probably wouldn't go as far as 30 days because you don't want to annoy your customer. If they haven't made a decision after a few weeks, then they're probably not going to. And you can also create automated sequences and interactive workflows for this too. And basically the design for this is to nurture and screen potential customers before even speaking with them. So another way to do this, and this is even useful for once someone becomes a client, you can start speaking back to them, getting some client advocacy and loyalty, driving people from an ad into Messenger and having an automation bot do the work for you. So this could be great to drive people over to the website if they simply have just, you know, maybe they don't want to go to the website. Maybe they want to speak to someone first before they make a decision. Then this can solve some of the issues or questions they might face. Or if they've actually purchased, you can actually hit them with a bot and ask about their experience. Getting customer feedback is essential to then rework the campaigns and obviously grow your business. So we use a system called ManyChat to do this. It's an automated workflow. It's basically like a virtual assistant. You can plug this into your website as well, and really great to have a conversation. So this is what I call conversational marketing. And then finally, there's also other things you can do from a service point of view. This is obviously the e-commerce side. From a service point of view, we can also drive people from an ad into Messenger again to ask some questions, particularly if it's like, you know, a sensitive business or maybe it's more personal and they don't want to share that information online, then you can carry that information and conversation one-on-one in Messenger. And Messenger is becoming a lot more encrypted and more private, so people will start to know and understand that their information is safe. So that's it. So what did we cover today and what did we learn? Well, firstly, the things that I want you to take away is, number one, make sure you're starting with your top of funnel and gathering awareness with your campaigns. Then start driving them through your middle of funnel, which is your consideration objectives. And then you can start getting the conversion and start, you know, getting that qualified lead and sale through the door. Secondly, create different content and different messaging and different style of ad formats for each of those stages. You don't want to have the same ad on each of these different stages of the funnel, because you want to make sure that you're speaking to that customer at every stage and making sure those ads actually look different. Otherwise, people aren't going to really distinguish one from the other. So making sure that you're contextual with your ad messaging and also your ad formats. And finally, your conversion should take place at the bottom of the funnel. Don't try and cut to the chase too quickly. Make sure you're building the trust, and then you'll ultimately get the quality leads you're after. So I want you to ask yourself the question, what's one thing I can do today to start building trust for my clients and my cold audiences? Thank you, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. If you want to learn more, visit our website, growthmarketingsystems.com.